Hi, welcome back to the Stitch Witch podcast. It is a horribly hot summer day. I am at a bit of a crossroads here. I know it's been a while since we've had a regular podcast update, but I've had like a slew of personal tragedies, including a bunch of personal stuff and my footage being deleted. So in the interim, you guys have voted for a stash tour / a stash down sale. And that actually works really well for me. One, it gives me a break from all of my failed attempts to put together a podcast, and two, it gives me a chance to do the thing that I really wanted to do, which was to finally move a lot of these yarns out of my home. I am at a crossroads, if you can't tell by all my navel gazing and talking online about my knitting stuff, where I'm realizing that I really want to move away from some of the stuff that I started my knitting journey with. And now that it's summer and I'm spinning more than I'm knitting, I figured it would be a really good time to finally take everything out of my closet and archive it, document it, and hopefully get the stuff that I don't want, which is most of it, into the homes of people who would better cherish them. So for me, basically what I'm going to say is there are some things that I learned through my knitting journey over the last couple of years where hoarding has just not been the MO. I recently moved my partner into this apartment, so there's just not enough room for me to keep everything for the just-in-case moments. And I also just am wanting a fresh start to clear out my space because, frankly, I need to reclaim the space back, and my time and energy, I feel like, would be better spent on moving forward with a more confined list of stashes instead of having a queue to knit through. So yeah, this is going to be a very honest and vulnerable look at this collection as someone who has been very earnestly trying their best in this hobby, but also recognizes that, sometimes you make mistakes and you don't know what you like, and you do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have, and you can still make mistakes and learn from them. So this is me learning that my preferences will change and, things are different. At the very top of the video, I want to say that my prices will be around 60 to 65% of what the going rate of this thing is, because obviously I just want to recoup some cost for the materials. I don't necessarily want to be out here trying to nickel and dime people. I'm not going to be holding anything, so if you want something, reach out to me and, let's finish the payment. And if you can't finish the payment in one go, then don't assume that I'm holding it aside for you. I also will not do the looking up as I talk. I want to be able to show you the yarn, talk about the yarn, what it was originally used for, or what I think it would be appropriately used for. And all of the other information will be on some kind of visual thing. So unfortunately, this is not a video that I would recommend you watch without or listen to without watching, because I frankly will have to do all that stuff in post-production. I think it would be faster and most efficient for us to get through it together, talk more about the creative stuff and some of the qualitative things about the yarn, and all the quantitative material, like the specific materials, the weight, the yardage, all of that stuff will be written in afterwards so that there's no confusion. I'm really excited. I hope these things find beautiful, beautiful homes. I'm actually secretly hoping to recoup some costs of the yarn and hopefully upgrade some of my equipment for the YouTube channel, specifically the microphone. It's just one of those things that, if you know, microphones are kind of annoying to deal with, and this one could use a little bit of an upgrade. So I'm hoping we can do a little bit of the sprucing up around the household for this particular channel because it is growing and I'm really enjoying it. And if I can reinvest some of the yarn stuff into a mic and some editing software, I feel like we would all be better off. So yeah, you can think of this as also sponsoring the growth of this YouTube channel. So let's get into it. The first category I have here is Noro yarns. Now, I love Noro. It was the thing that I mentioned I was obsessed with. I think I even made a video about Noro when I first started knitting, which, haha girl, guess what? You spin now. So now that I spin my own yarn, I'm not actually as interested in working with my Noro yarn just because I can dial in that much more. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm just going to show you what I have and what I want to sell. So it might just be faster for me to jump in immediately. First thing I have are two skeins of a really great yarn. This is Sonata, which is 35% cotton, 25% viscose, 20% silk, and 20% polyamide. I have this one in my favorite color, Catmint. I actually have two balls of this or two skeins of this because I love this yarn so much. It is a fantastic summer yarn. I originally was going to make a lace shawl out of this, something lace, because it's a singles yarn. So if you want to look a little bit closer, you can see that they're not plied with twists. It's really just kind of one single yarn, which creates a really, really lovely, naturalistic, wabi-sabi look, especially for lace. Now, I never really got into my lace era. So unfortunately, this was put on the back burner and on the back burner and on the back burner, and I never actually finished it. Though I do have this actual yarn in a scarf that I held with mohair. So let me go grab that because I held it with Ching Fiber mohair and it came out really, really cute. So this was one of my very first knitting projects ever. So very bold of me to go to Downtown Yarns in Manhattan and pick out this Neuro Sonata fingering weight yarn, hold it with a chain fiber mohair, and knit this Easy Peasy bandana by Suzanne Mueller. I knit it off gauge. It definitely doesn't look the way it's supposed to look, but I think it is super cute, super soft. It is really wearable, very functional in my closet, especially for the season. And I do get the little like octopus curlies, but it really solidified in me the love and preference for this yarn. The actual makeup of the yarn is gorgeous, and of course I have the mohair in it, so it does change the fiber structure a little bit, but it had such a beautiful texture, and you can see the tonality is absolutely gorgeous. So that's 2 skeins of Neuro Sonata in the color Catmint. Similarly, I have 1 skein of the Neuro Sonata in the color E, Jade. So this is a really beautiful, almost like celadon color, very saturated. I wouldn't say it's a true jade, but you can see it's very beautiful. And actually, I do think these 2 colors together would look quite nice in a kind of pressed flowers situation, where you could imagine like green pressed flowers as opposed to the purple pressed flowers. I think that could be quite an interesting combo if you wanted to do something like that for a little shawl. This would be a really lovely kit to put together, so I might softly suggest, if you were interested, do the bundle. But yeah, same thing, same compositional makeup, just in this really beautiful light green color. Hopefully you can see it against my skin. This should be color corrected to look relatively accurate to real life, but I would say it is a bright, not quite pastel, but kind of like a saturated pistachio ice cream color. Very beautiful. I think it could look gorgeous. I even think it could be gorgeous paired with one of these Make It tweeds, which I have the original Make It tweed and I have the pastel Make It tweed, so if you want either of them, let me know. They are just like not in the best brand new condition, but like that could look really good together as like a kind of chocolate chippy, pistachio chippy kind of situation. I think it could be spectacular, but yeah, brand new, still in the hank, never touched. This is Silk Garden Light from Noro. I have 5 balls of it in the colorway 2190. I love using this for a blanket. So the way that I maximize my yardage for something like this, because it's not a very big ball, is I take this and then I take another color. So like a base color of some sort that matches my yardage. So for example, I might pair it with this oatmeal color and then do a 2-color linen stitch blanket or a 2-color blah 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 stitch blanket. And what you can do is you can really maximize the color gradients from this, and it looks really beautiful. If you're not familiar with Nora's Silk Garden Light, it's extremely soft. I'm not going to rub my makeup all over it, but it is extremely soft to the touch. It's 45% silk, 45% mohair, and 10% wool. A very luxurious blend with 5 balls. What is this? 5 balls at 125 meters. You could definitely make a really luxurious accessory, so something like a cowl, or like I said, if you wanted to go all out and do like a blanket or a sweater and use this as an accent color, I think this would look absolutely gorgeous. If this doesn't sell, I think this could look really good as a contrast color in like a Caitlin Hunter pullover like that, where you have a pretty long color work motif and then the colors gradually change as you go along. That's the kind of thing that I'm envisioning for this, or as well, like I said, a blanket would look absolutely gorgeous as well. So 5 balls of this. Next, I have 2 balls of Noro Kashirukuru. Kashirukuru. I don't know how you're supposed to say this. Kashirukuru. Kashirukuru. It might be like cash cool, like cashmere cool. This is a luxurious blend of Mongolian cashmere, mulberry silk, shiruku, and Falkland wool, uru. Okay, it's like a portmanteau. 40% silk, 30% wool, 20% cashmere, and 10% polyamide. So I have 2 full skeins. It's just that I hanked one because I originally wanted to start with something. This was originally going to be a very luxurious hat. I bought this because I think they discontinued this colorway when I was shopping, and I thought this was gorgeous, and they didn't really have that many other colors at the time. So I don't know if it's actually true that it's still discontinued, but that was my impression when I was buying this yarn. It is so incredibly soft. This is, again, another luxurious single. So you have that Noro beautiful quality of like it having that rustic spin, so no plies. It's like the opposite of a sock yarn, and yet it really blooms and blossoms. I've used this in other projects before, and what happens is the yarns kind of like fluff up. They turn almost into, what is the word I want to say? Like they kind of melt into each other and turn into one flat fabric, as opposed to some knitting, it's very knitted, whereas this just kind of turns into a soft woolen thing. Love this stuff so much. You get, and I know I wasn't going to do the math, but you do get 165 meters in each ball. So for me, I was going to make a petite knit hat out of this. I think that would work really well. You could also use this for color work. I think that would look lovely if you wanted something to have more of a hand spun quality instead of being really kind of industrially woven and stuff. This is your girl, but also all the Noro is basically going to be good for that kind of thing. Next, I have Noro Madara here. This is the one that everyone and their mother was looking for. I have, I believe, 4 full skeins of this, but I will double check the numbers and run them by you in a bit. Tags still on and everything. This is 60% wool, 30% silk, 10% alpaca. Madara means uneven in Japanese. Fibers and colors are unevenly mixed to create a unique appearance and touch. Now this was the yarn that originally got me starting to spin because I love the little speckled rainbow bits in here, and who doesn't? I mean, it was really popular a couple years ago. I want to say like 1 or 2, when I first started knitting 1 or 2 years ago, this was all the rage. I bought 4 balls of this, even though it was $25 or $30 a ball. As a beginner, because I wasn't able to get a hold of this in a lot of different places. They were sold out everywhere online, first of all, and I think one of my local yarn stores carried it, so I bought all of the yarn that they had, and while I was buying it, I noticed another girl in the store who was running a project made from this yarn entirely. The reason why I'm letting go of this is because beige is just really not my color. It doesn't really do anything for me. It's totally fine. I actually knit something in a very similar color by holding actually fisherman's wool and the make it tweed together to create a somewhat similar effect. I will say it's not the same. You're not going to get the same actual like wabi-sabi, I keep saying that, but this really organic, hand-blown, hand-spun look. This just comes from the way that you're actually going to like pull the texture of the wool together. Now as a hand spinner, this makes a lot more sense to me. I mean, it also comes with how you like actually source and prepare your fiber. It's not even enough just to like have something that looks similar. You really have to get in there and know what you're doing. So hats off to the design of this. It's just not my colorway, not my thing. So if you want this, I still have a ton of it. I never actually ending up knitting with the good stuff because I knit my dupe out of the fisherman's wool in basically exactly the same color with the same kind of rainbowy flecks, and I realized just because it had rainbow flecks didn't make it less of a beige and so it just didn't really do anything for me. I've known this for a long time. Beige is not my color, but I definitely got sucked into the hype and bought it. So now I'm hoping that it can go to a good home. I know it's not super trendy anymore, but if you're someone who genuinely likes a beige and you like something to have a little bit of color, this one is going to be a great pick for you. Just because there are so many little accent colors in there, pops of reds, greens, golds, magentas, orange, like, and it's so wearable, and you know, you don't really necessarily look at it and think rainbow confetti. You're looking at it and you see a really dimensional beige, but I don't need to talk about it. It's definitely made a name for itself already. That one I really am hoping goes to a very good home. And I wasn't done. So I also have red Madara because originally when I went to that store, they didn't have the other one. Now, the thing about this is that it is actually plied with Lang cashmere. So I made a levitate wrap by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I don't like her patterns. I've made it like pretty clear on this channel that I don't always like her stuff, and yet again and again I try her patterns because I think they look so good. She just does a really good job with her photography, and we're just not the same size that we're built, which makes sense. Like, obviously I'm not surprised, but I went out of my way to buy like 6 balls of this stuff, and I paired it with Lang cashmere, which was really expensive. And I also did this within the first 6 months of knitting, so I don't know what I was doing. But if you would like a really great deal on cashmere, like mohair cashmere and the yarn put together, let me know. The only caveat is that some balls are really big and some of them are small. I will weigh the whole thing because I think that's going to make a difference in how I sell this. But yeah, this is color number 12, same compositional makeup, really luxurious, and of course with that added cashmere it's going to feel really good. I just do feel bad because I basically broke up sweater quantity into a lot of smallish balls. There are still 2 full balls, and then I think 1 ball that is basically like smallish, not full skeins. So I do feel bad about that. One of them is 100 grams, another one is definitely 100 grams, but I think a couple of them are smaller. So if you are willing to want to try this yarn, and of course the luxurious cashmere, I'm not going to add the cashmere to the price of the yarn just because there's no point. It's kind of a nuisance more than anything else, but it is a fun creative restriction. So if you don't mind and you want something like a fun little matching winter set, I think this could be actually a really good amount of yarn. So you can make a hat and mittens, you can make 1 cowl, you could use it to do like any number of like booties or like whatever, right? Little accessories. But it's not enough to make a whole sweater because I ended up not keeping the rest of that sweater. It is really sad. But at a certain point, I was just like, I'm not really able to do this anymore. So yeah, that is this. Okay, last Noro piece, I believe, this is Haru Ito. So this is, Haru is spring and Ito is yarn in Japanese respectively. Haru Ito is a sunny season yarn. 40% silk, 40% cotton, and 20% polyamide. Now I have 1 and some balls of this. It's probably like 1 1/3 balls, but it's kind of a really, really big ball. This is a honking 150 gram ball at 375 meters. And this was just too cute to pass up. Look at these colors. To me, they are just absolutely divine. You've got the navy, the whites, the pinks, the blues. It does just like scream spring. And unfortunately, for that very, very same reason, I bought it because I just thought it was so cute and it was emotionally just too hard to say no to. But at the same time, I know these are not my colors. Like, they don't actually look that good on me. Is it adorable? Absolutely. Like, do I love them? Yes. It says to use a 4 or 4.5 millimeter needle. And that it's listed as a medium weight, but I do think because the Noro yarns are like thick and thin, you could probably go down to like a sport at the thinnest, and I do think probably a DK at the highest. It's not really that thick. But this is one of Noro's unusual summer yarns, or not unusual summer yarns, but like I don't own that much Noro summer yarn, and frankly summer knitting has just like not been my favorite, so that's honestly why I haven't been using it. Just as like an idea though, if this doesn't sell, I'm thinking of using it for my reinvested sweater. I am hosting or filming this video on the day that the new Antipodes sweater has come out, which is Andrew Mowry's annual reinvested sweater design submission, or release, and that is really exciting to me. So I'm still considering some of my options, but that's the kind of thing that I want to use for it. Like, I want to use something that has like color changes, something that's cute, but isn't like too crazy. So I do think this would be a good pick for that if you were interested, like myself, in doing something for Rhinebeck. But obviously I'm more interested in selling this yarn than I am keeping it. This is more like, if the yarn doesn't sell, I could find something to do with it. It's just that up until now, I've really only been working with 100% wools, just to account for, like skill differences and to teach my fingers a little bit of like, I don't know, just trying to teach my fingers stuff. Okay, last but not least for Noro yarn, I don't know if I already said last but not least, I have this gorgeous little guy. This is a very sexy, kind of dusky, wearable taupey color. This is called Tasogare, which reminds me of Spy Family, if you know, you know. Tasogare is twilight in Japanese. Yes, it is. This yarn is 60% wool, 20% silk, 20% mohair, no artificial filler here, absolutely gorgeous. It is a beautiful like DK weight yarn. I was thinking of making accessories with this, never knit it. If you wanted to hit like a worsted gauge, I feel like you can hold it with a little bit of a mohair. I even have a mohair here that I can throw in there for you because there's enough here to make a hat, and I actually had it in a little project bag because that was the intention here, to make a hat with a little bit of fluff. But I never got around to it, and right now, I have other things to knit on my queue. But I love that it is this mix. Now I bought this again on as a souvenir for a trip, so kind of sad to see it go, but I haven't used it in a year, so I feel like it's definitely time to let it move on, let it pass through. You can see it's a brown, really, really natural brown with lots of natural variegation. You've got lighter browns, darker browns, a little bit of navy, and even slight tones of gold. Like in the middle, you can almost see like a little hint of gold. Absolutely stunning, would make a really great like kind of masculine kind of hat. This is definitely what you would call like the husband hat. So I always envision this as a hat. It's kind of a big bugger too. Let me see. It's 150 grams at 375 meters. So you can definitely make yourself a nice chunky little hat with this guy, something with a double folded brim. Okay, that is it for the Noro. I now want to talk about the other largest category in my collection, which is Cascade Eco Plus, because I have a lot of this stuff. Okay, Eco Plus, why do I have so much of it and why am I not keeping it? I have a lot of it because when I first started knitting, I was really worried about yardage and how I could actually like estimate the amount of yarn, given that like gauge was so confusing and blah blah blah. Fast forward to now, I'm kind of like more familiar with my gauge and what I like to knit. However, what I'm realizing is I like a firmer twisted yarn. So there's nothing wrong with Eco Plus. It's actually a yarn that has gotten pretty popular in the last few years, and I think there's a difference between Eco and Eco Plus. Eco, I think, is natural colorways, and Eco Plus are the dyed colorways, if I am not mistaken. I think all of mine are Eco Plus because I don't have any natural colors here. But I've used a lot of it. So I've used Eco Plus, I've felted it, I've not felted it. It's just like a yarn that I've used like as my staple yarn for many, many garments. It's just, I'm frankly kind of tired of it because I used so much of it. and two, I don't now have that many sweater quantities. So we'll start with the large sweater quantities, but yeah, now that I'm looking at it, it's just not as tightly plied as I personally like. It is a natural, I think, Peruvian yarn, but it's just like a 100% wool yarn. Really nice, hardy, like not scratchy at all. It's extremely soft, it's extremely lofty, very bouncy. It has a very flexible gauge. So it's going to say some forecasting on the label. Like, what does it say? It says 100%, yeah, Peruvian Highland wool. And there's actually no, oh, here. Oh, what does it say? 437 meters, 16 stitches per 4 inches on 5.5 to 6.5 millimeter needles. Look, I've knit this as tight as 4 millimeter needles and as loose as 6.5 millimeter needles. And I feel like no matter what you're going for, you can use this yarn, and it works in many, many different contexts. So this one is one that I have called Blackberry. I think it was a limited edition color. I got this on Wool & Co. I don't remember this color, but I do have also the Lilac. I think these two could look really spectacular together. It would be good for a cropped something. So if you are smallish, like you make size, I don't know, like 1 or 2 of a project, this could definitely be enough for a crop sweater. I made my entire Olga sweater from Petite Knit from 2 Eco Plus balls, and I also made the stripy loop cardigan by Loopy Studios with 2 balls as well. So, and that wasn't even a small size. I think I made size 2 of that one. So yeah, definitely 2 for me is enough to make a whole sweater, but of course people's sizes are different. Yeah, I think this would be cute. And then I do also have it in navy. So these 3 together would be a nice little combination. And of course, you're looking at this and it kind of looks like this is black, but it's not black. It's definitely a dark purple. So yeah, these 3 I have in singles. And when I say singles, mind you, this is 2.5 skeins of something else. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, you're dealing with a lot of yarn here. And might I remind you, each skein is, what was it? 400 something yards. So yeah, that's a lot. And then I have 3 balls of this very beautiful heathery teal. So this one is quite dimensional if you look closely at it. There's a little bit of like a lighter green and then a little bit of a darker blue. Can't really tell if it's that or if it's a darker blue and a lighter green. But anyway, they kind of mix together into this very pretty Aegean Sea color. And my original plan for this was to create a cabled sweater. Now, with this yardage, you definitely could make a cabled sweater if you're like my size-ish. But you could also use it for a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, this was my remaining sweaters quantity of Eco Plus. If I don't sell this, it's finally going to turn into a sweater this year. But frankly, I am tired of this yarn because I've knit so many garments out of it. So if someone wants to share the love, please, please do. I have no complaints about this yarn. Like, it's not that, like, there's nothing really to complain about. It's not scratchy. I like that the gauge is versatile. Like, you can use it all the way down to a worsted weight or even like a DK if you like something a little bit more dense. And you can use it as a bulky as intended, but it doesn't really have to be anything. You can hold it with something else. I know it's been used for the Rumi Raglan as like a Baba dupe. I know a lot of people use it for Ozetta patterns. So pretty flexible. I actually think, you know, this would be a lovely lace cardigan or lace sweater. That was going to be my intent for this if I wanted to go more of like the stockinette route, but also holds cables really well. I've used this for accessories, and because it's Peruvian wool and because you know, it can be knit down, it can work pretty well for that kind of thing as well. Okay, the next pile of yarns I want to talk about are my superwash indie yarns, and also the few indie yarns that I have that are not superwash. So I did not know this when I first started knitting, but I first went to all these like cool knitting events, and I saw people knitting online, and everyone was knitting with like La Bien Aimée and Malabrigo and everything like that. And so I also did that, and I realized that I personally prefer untreated natural wools, and not just wools, but like other kinds of fibers or like other kinds of animals, not just sheep. So as I am now like exploring my current preferences, I have a growing pile of superwash yarns that I purchased for things like summer tops or little accessories, because a lot of people's like necks get itchy and stuff. That I don't actually really want to keep, just because I don't mind a rustic wool. No one in my life minds a rustic wool, and if I do want to make a gift with an accessory amount of yarn for something like a hat or a scarf or a bandana or something, I would rather just buy the superwash yarn specifically for that person rather than trying to keep something together for someone else. And the first batch of yarns that I am putting for sale are a little bit sentimental to me, so I'm like, I'll be neither here nor there. So as much as I want to keep them, I do want them to go to a home where they would actually be appreciated for their superwash quality and not necessarily as a concession that they are superwash, if that makes sense. Superwash is fantastic for a variety of reasons, including that they're really soft because the like shingles on the fibers are no longer like irritating in there. They take dye beautifully, so you can get all these beautiful indie dyers coming out with all these gorgeous colorways because the superwash treatment actually allows you to hold onto the pigment a little bit better. And often, you know, that's just what a lot of the indie sellers are selling. They're easy to take care of, obviously, so fantastic for things like baby blankets, or if you just like don't want to fuss around, you know, hand washing your clothes and like lining to dry and like doing the whole thing. You can wash it in the machine, which is the whole point of Superwash. It's a washable wool, so that's the whole point. And the last part is that they're more wearable as garments, often at heavier weights because you're not dealing with that whole cuticle, so they're not as hot. So if that is compelling to you, I have a couple of really gorgeous hand-picked skeins that, like, and I'm pretty picky about how I shop, so I feel like really sad that these are not going to really work for me just because of my knitting preference. But the first are a set of yarns from Malabrigo. You'll see 4 balls total, and again, 2 have been caked up just for convenience, and then 2 are left in the skein here. But these are sentimental yarns to me, so this is one of those things where I do feel like the yarns are gorgeous, but I would be using them just to use them and not because I actually like the positive qualities of the yarn. So this is a cobalt blue and then a really kind of rich tonal navy, but not like a navy, more of like a smoky, thunderstormy navy. You can see all that gorgeous variegation, and of course the blue is hand dyed, so you've got some variation in that blue. It's very deep. I think this one's called Cowboy. Sorry, this one's called Matisse, and I think this one is called Cowboy. Yeah, this is Malabrigo Rios. It is a really popular yarn. It's a fantastic yarn for beginner knitters, so if you are someone who has just started to knit, this is gorgeous. Lots of people talk about Malabrigo because it's really round, it's bouncy, it's soft. I've knit a lot of gifts with this kind of yarn and people love it. And it says 18 to 22 stitches, 100% superwash merino. Yeah, we know about this. So yeah, never used, never touched. You know, 2 of them are caked up, 2 of them are not, but they are brand spanking new, absolutely gorgeous. I was originally planning to make a ooey gooey cowl by Andrea Mowry in this. I ended up making mine in some like fuck ass Michael's yarn. Like, it ended up being cheap and scratchy, and I think it was acrylic, honestly, so I probably would have been better off doing this because it would look way nicer, but I don't remember what the reason was that I didn't do it, and frankly, I kind of regret that decision. So in any case, if you guys want to make a cowl or a set of winter accessories, this is the perfect amount. 2 of each color. I hope they go to a good home because I am really sentimental about them, but we are approaching the 1-year mark, and I said that if I didn't use them by 1 year, I would sell them, and here we are. So yeah, I love these guys. I'm going to give them a little kissy goodbye because I bought them on a vacation and they're really sentimental to me, but they are really gorgeous and I cannot stand looking at them in my closet and not knitting them. I just feel like they deserve so much better. Okay, next I have 2 balls of a yarn that I need to take the label out of, so I'm sorry for removing this cake prematurely. Also unused yarn. Also purchased sentimentally because, yeah, it was on a trip with a friend to a new place and I got excited, but this is, and I'll show a better picture of the actual yarn, like hopefully there will be a picture of it on the screen, and also this is an example of one of the skeins. This is the Unique DK hand-dyed self-striping ultra fine merino. I bought it from Nitty City at Earth Yarns, and you get 300 yards per thing. I have 2 of them, so you get 600 yards of product. Color 6005. I believe this was a zodiac color, which is why I was so sentimental about it. I got it wound at the store and it was like not well wound, so I'm sorry about this. This was literally how it came to me, which is wild because I think you either had to pay or like wait a long time to get it wound. But I remember it taking a while, and then I got the ball and I was like, this is a little imperfect, but I didn't want to like wait because there was a line. But I have 2 balls of this gorgeous thing. I was originally going to make the Audrey top by Petite Knit, and I don't remember if I ended up running out of yarn for my size, like I looked at the math and it didn't end up working out, or if I decided that wool would not be a good yarn for summer tops, which is probably more likely what it was. But for a smaller chested person, I actually think it would be really adorable. Or again, as an accessory, similar to like the ooey gooey, I think this would work exceptionally well. This has been sitting in my stash, again, as a color that is really gorgeous. And I actually think my balls are prettier. They obviously are from the same dye lot, but since every dye lot is different, what I'm realizing online is that some of the colors are really bright for this colorway. And I think mine is just like the exact amount of moody. You know, you've got purples, reds, they're really tonal and beautiful. Like, I I really wish I liked superwash. Man, like looking at these is making me, like I kind of want to hold on to these. I even think it'd be cool with this, like together. But no, like I don't want to keep these yarns. I just, like, I have this thing where they are perfectly lovely and perfectly nice. It is just the fact that they're superwash, and I'm not a fan of the way that superwash knits, or like I don't really need the benefits of them. So to me, like paying a premium for the way that the thing is treated is just like not it to me. So I do want to pass them along to someone who would like them. This is gorgeous. I don't even think they make this colorway anymore. So if you like the colors, definitely jump on it, because you know it's not necessarily something that you can replicate exactly. Next, I'm really excited to say that I have some La Bien-Aimée for a perfect fade. So I don't have every single, or like, I have everything in front of me. I'm just going to show you the representative because it's a lot of different balls. So I have a couple of full hanks of La Bien-Aimée, and I haven't even touched them. La Bien-Aimée Merino. This is the Merino DK, I believe. And 230 meters, 100% superwash merino. And it goes from blue to speckly blue to gray. So that is the gradients that I have. And I have quite a few balls of this stuff. Of course, you can buy what you want. You don't have to buy the whole gradients, but I do have the whole gradients worth of yarn. So, do I even have the color name for this one? I don't necessarily think I have the color name for this one, but this first one is called Vespa Graffiti. Absolutely gorgeous. If you can see, it's a speckled teal. So, a really, really beautiful, almost not teal, but maybe like a turquoise / aquamarine color. Very Turks and Caicos from Essie, if you remember, or you like that nail polish color. This one is like exactly for you. Very cheerful, very apropos for the summer. I think it's gorgeous. My favorite spot is this one right here. And I love when I love when yarns are in the skein. I really just think you get to see like them in their best light. And of course, the La Bien-Aimée label is so cute. And I don't know if it's Aimée or Aimée. It might be La Bien-Aimée. So correct me if I am wrong. I think these retail for $35 a piece, which is pretty steep. So yeah, if you want to snag or try La Bien-Aimée for the first time, and you feel like the 35% price tag is pretty steep, then this might be a good option for you. The middle color is this one, which I've already skeined up, so you can have like a better representational view of what it'll look like. It's half gray, half teal. I would say it's probably closer to a gray base with teal mixed in than a teal with gray mixed in. So that will be your halfway point if you want to do a fade. And I have 3 full balls of that completely. So 300 grams of this. If you don't want to do a fade, I feel like this could just look really beautiful as your bog standard, you know, speckled orc yarn. And then I have 2 balls of this one, which is the one that I really wanted to keep. This is in the color Cassiopeia, and it is just a beautiful, soft pearl gray. I would say this is probably a neutral, slightly cool leaning gray, almost like a purpley cool and not a blue cool, which I think makes it very pretty. It's almost like the color of hair that everyone wanted back in like 2016. And you have these beautiful speckly bits of purpley, you know, indigo gorgeousness in the corners here. And I think that's going to work out to be absolutely gorgeous. So I have 2 skeins of this. Can't find the other one right now. But yeah, this one is confirmed gorgeous. I was going to knit the Oslo hat in this, but then I figured it may not be a great use of my money. Because I didn't know if I was going to need 200 full grams of it, so I just ended up doing it. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I found the second one. It's right here. So this is the second ball. Same one, Cassiopeia. So extremely soft. Like obviously the superwash yarn is going to be soft, but this one is really lovely, plump, round. I love their base. Okay, I'm sitting in like a huge pile of yarn. Where do we go next from here? Okay, next I have a yarn that I purchased from Yarn Crawl, and I tried to gift this to a friend who really wanted it, but she was a little bit scared of how precious it was, so she didn't take it, but it does feel like it needs a really beautiful home. I think this is like the most me yarn ever. Like, I love the color. I love the color. This is like one of my favorite colors. It's very similar to the Noro Cat Mint, actually. So if you see Cat Mint is slightly cooler. This is slightly warmer. I would say this is more of a lilac. This might be a little bit more of a lavender. But yeah, definitely right up my alley in terms of what I like. This is the Wollmeise Lace Heirloom in the shade Lilac. It is called Nobody is Perfect K. 300 grams, 574 yards of this stuff. That is a beast. But it is 100% superwash merino, which is why I haven't really done anything with it. One, because I am intimidated to frankly put this on my umbrella swift and wind it up into cakes because it is a lot. It's 300 grams of fingering weight yarn, so that's a lot to get through. I think my vision for this is someone who likes to knit lace shawls. Oh my god, could you imagine the lace shawl that comes out of this? I think it'd be absolutely legendary. However, if you hold it double, you could definitely get like a decent amount of yardage out of this because, you know, it would still be a lot of yardage. And, you know, you'd be working with something slightly thicker. The other option is to just hold it with like a silk mohair. I think that would work excellently as well. Full price, this was $62, so I will definitely be marking that down because that was steep. But absolutely gorgeous, beautiful color, absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely deals, and really, really soft. The other thing that I don't know if you immediately notice, but it is hand-dyed. So you can get some of that tonal variegation, so much movement, so much liveliness. I think you're gonna get some of that like paler and darker situation here, but it's not super obvious, so you're just gonna get a little bit of depth on your finished project. Whatever that project is, I know it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Okay, next I have something super simple, sock yarns. I have quite a few sock yarns because I am just not a sock knitter, and if I am a sock knitter, I'm not a sock knitter right at this very moment, and so I don't need to be hoarding all of these sock yarns. It's just like taking up a lot of space in a closet that I need to start sharing with a man, so this is not going to work for me. This is the Yarn Bee Authentic hand-dyed tonal in the shade Dark Denim. I love this color. It is just a really beautiful tonal navy. Absolutely gorgeous. I was thinking of making yet another also hat with this, holding it double obviously because I don't want to knit on really, really skinny fingering weight yarn, but yeah, you know, I'm just like, again, not like needing superwash yarn because I have made an also hat without superwash yarn, and you know, like for me, I prefer it, but it would also be lovely as a sock, I'm sure. So if you would like this, this is on sale as well. I have 4 balls of the yarn Tourmaline Stripes. This was one that I bought at Michael's, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was obsessed by the idea that I was going to be really into knitting socks, and then I knit one sock and I never knit another sock ever again. But I love Croy yarn. I just don't like this colorway. I don't know why I bought it. I mean, I bought it because I think I like the idea of black monochromatic socks, but I like the idea more than I actually like knitting this stuff. Socks are like a someday in the future thing and not something that I want to knit right now, and I need space in my closet right now. So if you want 4 balls of this yarn, hit me up, girl, because I have more than enough to go around, and I have more Croy. So if I can, I would like to go through my other balls of Croy with you right now. This is the shade Gray Brown Marl. I love this color. I think it's really cute. It's just not for me. So if you know me, you know that this is not in my like color palette whatsoever, not in my color season, just not my usual thing. So that's why this is going on sale here. Yeah, just not my usual shtick. So I will sell it to you if you like this color, and you'll get it, I don't know, 35–40% off what it usually would sell for. Okay, now that we've finished sock yarns, I want to get into my favorite category, which is basically just wool yarns. There might be like some things here and there that are not like 100% wool yarns, and we'll get to them like when we get to them, but the bulk of what I own is wool or fluff. So let's talk about maybe the wool first, and then we'll end with fluff, and then we'll end with random things that I like forgot here and there that I didn't find a way to like edit into the rest of it. So the first thing that I pulled out is this. This is the Plymouth Yarn Homestead. It is a Peruvian Highland wool worsted weight double, yeah, 2-ply. So really bouncy, really soft. This is a true red, potentially maybe leaning a little bit on the cool side, but definitely like a lipstick red. Gorgeous. I was originally going to make one of those like hooded scarves with it. So hood on the top, scarf all the way around. I didn't end up doing it, which is really sad because it came out super cute. Oh, this is more Croy. So I think this is called like geranium. I have 2 balls of geranium and 2 balls of this Plymouth yarn. Yeah, I was originally going to make a like hooded scarf kind of situation, or like a balaclava hood. I didn't end up doing it. I don't remember why. I think it was because the pattern that I was reading off of, I just didn't like the way that the finishes were done, and then I just didn't end up doing anything at all. But it's 100% wool, approximately 191 yards. So I would say maybe even like close to like Aran weight over worsted, but really nice and fluffy, very cute. I have no complaints about this. The color is spot on. The Peruvian wool, this is really, really soft. It's not anything scratchy by any means. You know, it's kind of softer than Peer Gynt. Yeah, or at least similar. I feel like it's pretty similar to Peer Gynt. If you guys want to know, this is Peer Gynt in the shade red. So maybe even slightly a little bit more pink with a tiny bit more white in it as comparison. So this was a really affordable yarn. So I imagine it'll be even more affordable when I look up the price and I like reduce it or whatever, because I bought it because it was affordable. That's why I started with this yarn. It was a Peruvian yarn, which is like plain Jane, like plain as day, like it's wool. And I remember it being like really cost effective for the thing that I was doing. So if anyone wants, again, like if you're not even just a beginner, but if you're looking for something really practical, this red is really gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous yarns that I have not found a way to like use up yet, and actually this is because it's so pretty that I'm like a little scared to use it. I have 2 balls of the Jameson Shetland Heather Aran knitting in the shade Leprechaun. I knit this for my Nordic Bloom sweater. And these balls of yarn, let me tell you, they're so sticky, so gorgeous. They basically stick to themselves because they are Shetland wool, and so they have that really gorgeous rustic quality. But I want you to look at this color. Look at the tonality on this thing. It is amazing. There's like 4 different colors of fiber here that have been smushed into one. There's mustard, there's yellow, there's a little bit of blue, there's that green, it's a little bit of brown, maybe even a little bit of red in here. Obviously from far away, you're not looking at it and thinking it's a rainbow, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I only have, I think, 100 grams of this, right? Because it's half balls, I imagine. One of them is missing a label. I'm so sorry, but yeah, it is approximately 92 meters in this tiny little ball. And my goodness, was this thing expensive. So I really regret that I bought extra because I probably should have just bought exactly the amount that I needed and absolutely no more, because my goodness, yeah, 100 grams of this stuff would be great for color work as a cowl, would be beautiful as a little like hat accessory. It just is like super warm. Again, it has that really gorgeous like rustic sticky feeling without being itchy at all. Not itchy whatsoever. I definitely find like mohair and alpaca like to be pricklier than this. I wouldn't say this is buttery. It's definitely got like a toothy texture, but it's very dry. It's dry. It sticks to itself gorgeously. If you want to try steeking, I would actually recommend doing an accessories quantity and steeking something together. And I actually have something perfect for you, mixing it with this other really special yarn that I never used because it was too special to me. This is the Hyersville Designs Highland Worsted, and this color is the stuff that dreams are made of. I love this particular shade of like soft pansy cornflower blue, and if you look closer you'll actually notice that there are bits of lilac in here. Oh my god, there's little bits of pink swirled into this thing. So it's not a flat periwinkle, it's a periwinkle with little flecks of pink. It is actually to die for, which is why I've never used it. This is in the color Cornflower 27. Oh yeah, it's a cornflower blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I think if you've never steeked before, this could be a really, really awesome steeking combination. And now that I'm holding it up like this, I might do something to steek it. So you and I are in a battle here. If you want this, I feel like this could be a really awesome pattern accessory material, because these yarns will stick and slide together, and because they're like heathered and not tonal but definitely heathered, where the colors are dyed very delicately and they have a really great process of like commercially dyeing but without making the yarn flat. I wish you could see this in person. The color on this yarn is like, you can see that almost pinkish halo. It looks like hand-dyed mohair, like that's how it reads. And I have 2 skeins of both. So yeah, but this is like 100 grams and this is 200 grams. So absolutely gorgeous. I love these. If no one knits these, I will shamelessly knit this into like a cowl or something fancy. Okay, more reds and navies. I have some of my favorite yarn, which is the Lion brand local grown yarn. This yarn is fantastic, and I used to be able to find it in Michael's stores, and now it's not available, which makes me really sad because I think this is a gorgeous yarn. It's fantastic, it's plump, it's bouncy. I have knit with this so much, and the reason why I have 4 balls of it left over is because I just like bought so much of it at the time because I was so scared it was going out of stock. I even emailed Lion brand, the company, because I was so worried. It's listed as a medium 4 worsted, but I don't think so. I think it's definitely an Aran to a bulky weight, but it just feels amazing. So if you don't know, it's made with locally sourced American wool, which is fantastic. It's made in the US, and at the price point that it is, it's pretty impressive. Most of all, it is extremely round and bouncy, and it has gorgeous stitch definition. It's just a pleasure to work with. It's very bouncy. If you like a thicker yarn because you kind of don't like really small gauge projects, I would say you can even knit it higher than the 5 that it tells you. You can probably knit it at like a 5.5 and it would still feel really, really solid. 100% American wool, 100 grams, 186 yards to the ball. And I have 2 balls of the color Liberty, which is just navy color. I don't say just navy, but it is a very classic, perfect navy. There's nothing wrong with this navy whatsoever. It's not too blue, it's not too dark, it's not too gray, it's not too blue. Did I say that already? Anyway, navy is one of those colorways that sometimes is difficult to get right, but I do feel like they did a great job with their navy. And of course, I love an accent red. So I have 2 balls of the red as well. This one is called like apple red. Yeah, apple pie. Adorable, which is funny because like I don't think apple pie is actually like I don't really associate apple pie with this bright red. I associate more so like actual apples with this color red. But again, this kind of classic red that I like, a true red, slightly leaning cool, not very pink, but kind of like a medium saturation red. And again, next to this one, so maybe slightly darker, less white. And then next to the Sandusgarden red, we've got a little bit more gray. It's a little more desaturated and a little bit cooler. But yeah, 2 balls of this, 2 balls of that. I feel like you could put them together and make something really cool, or you could use them separately as separate accessory quantities, and that would look perfectly nice as well. Oh, I lied. I actually have another ball of the Lion brand local wool in Liberty, so the navy color. So we actually have 3 balls of that. Next, I have 2 balls of a Lion brand Wool Ease Roving Origins. Now, I use this as a alternative to unspun wool. Now, my first year of knitting, I was really interested in unspun wool, like all of the things that people were ordering from Ourielle, and I think, what is that brand? It's like on the tip of my tongue, but it's the one that comes in the little like plates. Anyway, so I had a day or like a season when I was experimenting with all different types of unspun wools, and this is the like craft store's version of an unspun wool. It's extremely light, extremely lofty. I love this yarn in the lilac colorway. I made my first ranunculus with that. It's extremely cost effective at 300 yards per ball. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck. It is exceptional if you like a lightweight sweater. I have kind of not really enjoyed lightweight sweaters. I like a heavy ass garment. I've talked about it a little bit in my summer knitting video, where to me the appeal of knitting is not necessarily that a garment is lightweight and fluffy and feels like a cloud and feels like nothing, but it keeps me so warm. If you don't like the feeling of clothing hanging on you and you love just the idea of like a weightless cloud that somehow keeps your, basal temperature high, this one might be the one for you. I don't remember what the color is. It might be like mushroom or something. Yeah, color number 122N. Oh, mushroom. Yeah, it is called mushroom. I have 2 balls of it, as is, perfect in the skein, brand new, haven't been touched. But I also, if you are interested, have it with a little bit of mohair on the side, and it is a mushroom colored mohair. I can just give you the mohair as well. That's what I did for my ranunculus. So yeah, why don't we just bundle it together? I don't know. You can have it with the mohair, you can have it without the mohair. This is the mohair. It is also a mushroom color, right? So hopefully the match is perfect. It's like a perfect match. If you want it, I would suggest you put it together. The reason why I did this is because I wanted another ranunculus. I just realized, again, with the like beige tan, it's not my color. It is a cool beige tan, so definitely closer than a different other kind of beige, but in my perfect world, I never wear anything that's beige. It's just like not a color that's in my wardrobe. The reason why I paired it with the silk mohair is because it's going to give your garment strength without adding weight. So the silk is going to give that core, which is going to allow your yarn to stay together. And, not that it won't stay together without the mohair, but it just does function a little bit better with that core, and also to give a little bit of that luxurious feel to it. And yeah, it just worked lovely on my ranunculus previously. And the ranunculus doesn't use that much yardage, so I wouldn't actually, it depends on what size you're knitting, of course, but if you get these sweaters quantity worth, you have a pretty generous amount. I would say you don't necessarily have to go with a pattern that is so thrifty with its yardage. But yeah, so the 3 balls of mushroom as well as all the matching mohair I think would work absolutely lovely for this. Really love the yarn. I have no complaints about the yarn. I've worked with it before. I recommend it a lot to people who are interested in it. The only thing for me is that it's just like not a color that I particularly love wearing, and nowadays I'm not as inclined to knit something that I don't love the color of. So yeah. I have one really exceptional yarn. This is the Super Chunk Merino, super bulky wool. It is basically just a full thing of ready to dye chunky wool. It's roving, or what do you want to say? Like, I think roving would be the word that I'm using here. It's super chunky roving. Merino yarn, extremely soft. I think this would be awesome for a art spin. So if this doesn't sell, I think it could be really cool to practice dyeing this and then use it as like a yeah, just like an art spin. I will show some examples of what I'm talking about. So if you are a spinner, I think this could be really awesome. If you are a not spinner and you are in the market for super bulky yarn, I think this could be a good one. For me, I just find it really hard to like know exactly what to do with super bulky yarn. I had one other one of this, so I bought 2 at the time, and I used one for a headband, which I then gifted to a friend who loved it because it's just like was super soft, super cozy. So if you are interested in that, then you know it could be useful. 100% super tone merino, 140 yards, and 200 grams. So pretty big hank if I do say so myself. While we are talking about bulky yarns, I want to talk about a discontinued yarn that isn't a thing anymore, and that is KNC Chromatic Twist. This is an awesome bulky weight yarn that I wanted to use for felting projects last year, 100% wool, and it comes in this amazing colorway. I thought that this reminded me of Jinx from League, and also it's just like colors that I love. Amazing, gorgeous. Like the yarn is like such amazing quality. And of course, because Joann's was going out of business, I didn't have an idea for this. I just had the idea that this would be amazing for felting. It's 100% wool. The yarn is gorgeous. You get a fantastic value for the price for 150 gram balls each. And the colors are like this kind of slow color fade spin cycle situation. I just thought, like, how amazing am I for getting a dupe like this? I think I bought like 6 balls of each. So I don't want to pull all of them out because they're in their own tote right now, but I have 2 different colorways of 2 different volumes. I originally was planning on making the skirt number 1, I think, from My Favorite Things Knitwear, and then I didn't end up doing that. And then I wanted to make sailor slippers, and I didn't end up doing that because I was knitting everyone Christmas gifts that year, and I did not have the time or energy in me to knit myself a pair of slippers. And then finally, I think I wanted to make the Suzanne Mueller scarf, the one that everyone enjoyed making, but I didn't want to do tassels. So it has sit in its own Trader Joe's tote this entire time. But the first one that I have is in the colorway Bejeweled, and that is all cool tones. And then I also have one in the colorway Winter Sunset, which has a little bit of the orange in it, but otherwise it looks like this. It has a little bit of that orange and teal in there. Absolutely gorgeous. Everything is still caked up in its own little skein. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. You are getting a huge bang for your buck because of like how big these balls are and how much sheer wool you're getting in here. But yeah, this is one of those things that I never got to, and I'm kind of sad about it. But because they are bulky weight yarns, I don't want them here because I don't have the room. I just, strictly speaking from a like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment situation, and so we do not have the room to keep all these beautiful yarns. But imagine this as like, if you love Spin Cycle and you don't want to spend $35 a ball for 50 gram balls of yarn, so that's like $70 for 100 grams of yarn. Here you are getting bigger yarn, more color, and faster knitting. So yeah, that's why I purchased it, just for me. I haven't knit it into anything yet, so I have these yarns, and I think they would actually work really well together because the colors are so similar and they overlap so much. But yeah, never applied them into anything, and so here they wait for their forever home. Someone please adopt them. I have a ball of Cascade 220 that I never used, which is in the shade Peach, I believe. I don't know the name, but it is just a peach. It's almost like a neon peach. It's really cool. I just don't like this color peach. I bought it because I wanted to make the Artus shawl by Natasha Hornsby. I never remember what her name is. But I love that shawl. I've never seen a bad one. I just have commitment issues with shawls because they are so much knitting, and I ended up in the meantime, after purchasing the yarn for that shawl, and I keep holding it back because I want you to actually see the like beautiful neon peach quality of it. It actually reminds me a lot of the Hedgehog Fibers neon peach. But anyway, in the time between ordering the yarn and receiving the yarn, I ended up breaking the yarn apart, overthinking it, and then using the yarns that I bought for the actual project and everything else under the sun, which is kind of a little bit of a shame because I do think that it is gorgeous on its own. But this one I know I would never use because it's just one of those colors that, like, if it's not an accent color in something else, I just will not use it because it's just not my color. It is just a little bit too, I don't know, just not my thing. So if you would love to adopt just one little skein of peach yarn, I do think this would look absolutely adorable. And I love this yarn. There's nothing I can say about Cascade 220 that hasn't already been said. It's a workhorse yarn for a reason. It is a worsted weight yarn. You can work it down or you can work it up depending on like what you do to it. I love this yarn paired with a silk mohair. I think it really elevates this yarn. So if you pair it with a silk mohair that you think is excellent, for example, that Hedgehog Fibers, like that neon peach would look really well. If you can find like a really gorgeous neon peach, and neons obviously don't look that good on camera because they're kind of hard to capture, but it's like a creamy neon, a creamy pastel neon. If you can find a mohair to pair with it, I think it really, really elevates the base yarn quite significantly, and I think this would look gorgeous either as an accent in something, like if you wanted to pair it with a navy, I think that could look really, really cool. If you wanted to pair it with a different color, it's just not my thing, and that's why I don't want to keep it, but I love the yarn. I've used it in a lot of stuff, whether it's for garments, whether it's for accessories. People like Cascade for a reason, and it's very affordable as it is, so I have no complaints with it whatsoever. Similarly, I have no complaints with the Patents Classic Wool Worsted. I love this stuff. I think it's really fantastic. My only problem is, look at this yarn and look at me. It is very, very warm toned. It's more warm toned than I thought it was going to be, and I even got a neon green lime mohair to hold with it, which I don't have readily, but it wouldn't cool this down enough because this stuff is really like warm and yellowy. So unfortunately, I thought it was going to be closer to this slime green, and then it ended up being this, and they just don't play as well together as I thought they were going to. 4 full balls of this. This is in the color Sprout. This yarn, again, super hard wearing. If you've been on my channel for any length of time, you know that this is my standard sweater yarn. I use this for almost every single sweater. I knit it at 4.0 millimeters. I knit it all the way up to 5.5 or even 6 millimeters if I want something loose and drapey. It works really well. It's very hard wearing. It's just a standard wool, like nothing scratchy, nothing itchy. It's really comparable to Peer Gynt from Santa's Garn. And I bought this yarn thinking it was going to be special, and it really is not that special. It's just another version of like your regular yarn. I think this might be Peruvian yarn. If it's not Peruvian yarn, who knows, but it has a very similar kind of feel. Very round, very lofty, very bouncy, not scratchy at all. Comes in a ton of beautiful colors, this one being one of them. It's just not my color. Now, do I like it next to like a navy? Absolutely. Did I like it in my normal sweater? Absolutely. But I don't like it enough to make a full sweater of it. I have 4 balls left. That's not necessarily enough to make a whole sweater, but it definitely is enough to make accent stripes. So if you want to do an Olga with this color, I think that could look really cool. I was actually considering an Olga jacket with this as my accent and then black as my solid color. So if you want to steal that idea, by all means, I do think you could do that. It would look a little bit like this, and maybe even a little bit like this if you wanted to do a very graphic palette. I think that could look excellent. And if I can't get rid of her, that's what she's going to turn into, right? Because I do think there's a way to work around it, but if I can get her into a home that actually enjoys her, I would rather her go somewhere where like they actually like the color that she is, instead of trying to like obfuscate it a little bit. We are coming to the end here, and that's just as well because I am getting really freaking exhausted. Like, I'm getting tired. I do have something a little bit timely before we go into fluffy yarns, and that is Bombulin. I have a lot of Bombulin. This is a drops 100% linen, I believe. Oh no, 53% cotton, 47% linen yarn. I think these are like tiny little, I don't know, 50 gram balls. You are getting 93 yards. I think this is a solid DK weight yarn. It's in the color black. I have a million balls of this. I will list the actual number of balls that I have on the video below. And of course, I don't know how much I paid for this because I bought it over a year ago now. And I don't like summer knitting. I don't like summer knitting. I haven't found enough patterns to, you know, try it out. I just find it insufferable. I have the full quantity of the Bombulin in this bag and in another bag because I bought so much of it thinking that I was going to knit all of my summer clothes in just black yarn because I like black yarn, I like the natural fiber, I like knitting. What's not to love? Well, actually a lot of it. So I made this mistake. If you like the cotton linen and it works for you, fantastic, because I have a lot of it to pass off. And if not, I don't know what I'm going to do because I know I'm not going to knit with it. It is not a like a kind of knitting that I like to do. I don't really like summer knitting. I did the video on the summer knitting, and then after being validated by everyone in the comments, just realized that like maybe this is not for me. And if someone else wants to knit stuff in the summer, so be it. I just finished a garment like this week, and I don't like it. I don't even want to wear it. So yeah, I think I'm taking a indefinite hiatus from summer knitting from now on because it's just like, it's not my thing, and I don't have anything in my queue that I want to make. So if you want Bombulin, let me know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my thing. Speaking of which, I have 9 balls of I Love This Cotton in black because I had leftover from a sweater quantity that I made. I knit the Clara blouse by Marie Morgenstern. I don't remember her name, but anyway, I made the Clara blouse. And at the time that I bought the yarn, I bought a ton of it because I was like, oh, black cotton yarn. I'm going to use black cotton yarn. It's amazing. I love this yarn. It feels so soft. It feels so nice. It's nice to work up. I don't really have a problem with it. Well, I do technically agree with those things. I'm just like not in the mood to knit summer stuff. A 100% cotton sweater sounds great until I think about the fact that I don't actually like knitting with 100% cotton. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. And as far as cotton yarns go, this one is actually the nicest ones that I've used, because I've used quite a few 100% cotton yarns, and I do like this one the most. It's just that I don't find it exciting. And knitting with black yarn is already more practical than it is exciting. And then add to it the fact that it's cotton yarn, which means that it's not particularly bouncy or cute to look at, or, you know, exceptionally soft and fluffy the way that wool is. And it's not hand spun the way that my hand spun cotton might be. So everything about this is kind of just like, I bought it at a time when I wanted to buy like en masse for practicality reasons. And the season has passed in terms of when I would have really been excited to cast on with, you know, 100% cotton for a 100% cotton sweater. But if you are someone who enjoys 100% cotton and you would knit something like a sweater or a couple of blouses or a tank top or whatever, because, you know, that's just the kind of thing that you do, I think this is fantastic. It works really well. The black is black. It doesn't pill. It doesn't look raggedy, which I find can sometimes be the issue with plant fibers, is that like they don't necessarily look super good for that long. I don't really have that issue with this yarn. I was thinking of doing a couple of Irene Lynn sweater patterns with this, namely the Rhoda Jumper, and then if I had enough after that, I was going to do a mesh top by James N. Watts, but I didn't end up casting any of that stuff on in the summertime, which is telling me that I don't want to knit with cotton in the summer. It's just like not something that I want to do. So if anyone else wants to take 9 beautiful balls of worsted weight cotton yarn off my hands, let me know. They are definitely garment yarns and not necessarily blanket yarns. Though you could also use it for like blankets and scrubbies and stuff. It would just be really, really soft compared to like a sugar cream. Okay, I think we're basically at the end. Now we have specialty fluffs, which is very exciting indeed. Fluffs are everyone's best friend because they just feel so comforting and they complete a collection. And there's nothing that us knitters love more than a little bit of fluff to perk everything up and make them lovely. I have a couple of really rare pieces here that I want to start the ball rolling with. I showed these off last year because I was really excited about them, but I haven't even uncaged them, as you can see. So they are still in their big old skeins, and each one is a full sweater's quantities worth. So I have 2 amazing quantities of this hand-painted yarn. This is from the brand Schaefer Yarns hand-painted luxury fibers in the color Danya. 80% mohair. Well, okay, 78% mohair, 13% wool, 9% nylon, 1,200 yards, 20 ounces of product, hand-dyed in Interlaken, New York. Obviously gorgeous. I mean, look at this. I had to buy it because, like, look at it. The only problem is, like, I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I know it's a sweater quantity, and it is really soft. The silk. I mean, the amount of fiber on this alone, I feel like you could spin this. You could use this for yarn, like art yarns. You could obviously use this as is. I feel like that's the intention, but it is a hand-painted luxury fiber. It almost looks like wig, like, you know, the hand-painted balayage wigs, you know? It's just so gorgeous. I keep wanting to hold it. It's very fluffy, very voluminous, and I didn't want to knit a swatch with it because, you know, obviously if I knit a swatch with it, I would ruin it in its beautiful condition, and I didn't want to do that until I knew the time was right. But now that I'm putting her up for sale, I'm very happy and pleased that I never, you know, opened it up so it could stay in pristine condition. But like, my hair used to be this color, and so I have a very soft spot for this colorway. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah, just absolutely lovely. And I bought her sister yarn, which looks like this, similar. But this one, hopefully you can see, is a little more subtle, and it has that farm smell, which is remarkable considering what they've done to process it already. But it's got those flashes of color inside. A little bit of blue, a little bit of teal, a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow. This is in the color Hot Dots. Hand-painted yarn by Ruth's, a New Hampshire fiber artist. 78% mohair, 13% wool, 9% nylon. Again, the same kind of content. You're dealing with 18 ounces of wool, 1,100 yards. And someone made a note that said 7.5 to 8.5 inches of rib, 10.5 plus for the body. I don't really know what that means, but it does say actually on this one, so I think it would apply to both of them because they're very, very similar products. Because each skein is individually hand-painted, variations may occur. Therefore, if so, I suggest the skein be wound in several balls and varied throughout, so basically heelable knitting. I like to start the body of the sweater with a larger ball and use round needles for the body as well as the sleeves. A plain stitch is recommended, thus allowing the yarn to make its own statement. So yeah, this absolutely gorgeous yarn. If you are into kind of like historical vintage yarns, I do feel like this would be amazing. I even think these together would be amazing. So if you wanted to take home like a toddler's weight, a lot of yarn. If you buy this, I don't really know how I'll ship it to you. I guess I'll have to figure it out, but this is definitely like the big kahuna. Like, I feel like a fisherman holding these. This was definitely an amazing find, and I hope to pass these on to someone who can actually find some good use out of them because they are beautiful, especially this like tonal one. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, next I have something like not quite as spectacular, but maybe a little bit more practical for the average person. And this is Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 balls of this stuff, full and complete. 77% alpaca, 23% silk. If you haven't used Drops Alpaca Silk yet, let me be the first to convince you to use this instead of mohair silk. The Drops mohair silk is fine, and I don't have an issue with it. I mean, it's not great, but it's not nearly as soft as this stuff. None of this stuff is prickly. I've used it in many different colors, and I've never gotten one that was prickly. And it just has a much more luxurious feeling than the mohair silk. I mean, mohair silk is nice, mainly because I think we've been brainwashed into thinking it's amazing, but I don't necessarily actually love it. This one creates a light as a feather look, and I have it in the deep petrol blue. I basically don't want it because I don't like this color. Again, Drops does this thing where you can get amazing deals, but because I don't have them in the United States, I sometimes find the colors are not very accurate on the Wool Warehouse website, and so I learned my lesson. But this was from my very, very first Drops order 2 years ago, and I placed the order, and it just wasn't the color that I was expecting it to be. I don't remember if there was just like slightly more white in it than I wanted, or if it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be, but in any case, it sat for 2 years. I do think it's time for her to go to a new home. She just never really quite made it into anything. But I will say I've used other versions of Drops Alpaca Silk in other projects, and it is exceptionally soft, very smooth. If you have a mohair silk sensitivity, I do think this would be really suitable as a substitution because it just doesn't have that same prickly itch, in my opinion. Okay, last but not least, I want to end with a bang. This is a really interesting yarn that I've been holding on to, again, because I've been feeling like it's been too special to use, but again, I just feel like now it's time. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls of this amazing trendsetter yarns in the color Dune. Look at this. It looks like mermaids. It looks like mermaids. It looks like you're playing mermaid, but like in a yarn. Can you believe this? Look at this. It looks like you're playing mermaids. So there are literal pieces of gold and silver in here. Gold, silver, navy, indigo. It looks like a cloud. It's fluffy. I mean, the texture is unbelievable. And the way that the glitter is kind of like embedded underneath the mohair, it really just feels like you're digging and you're digging, in kind of the way that like an oyster shell refracts a little bit of like iridescence. I just love it. It's so beautiful. I didn't know what to make with it. I knew I wanted it to be in a shawl somehow, some kind of accessory, because I only have like 400 yards of it, right? So I have 50 grams, 5 balls, 90 yards per piece. It's 41% mohair, 12% viscose, 6% metal. It's just amazing. It's gorgeous. It feels so good. And don't be scared. The metal parts are actually not like pokey or anything. They're just very finely woven into this. It kind of just feels like, if you've ever had like stellina in your yarn, you'll know what it feels like. The mohair is so floofy and silky that it pretty much just like covers the hairs anyway, such that you don't really feel the metal. It just is so pretty sparkly. I mean, look at these together and tell me that you just don't feel like a mermaid. If you like mermaid, if you want to play mermaid, I just feel like this has to be the one for you. It's absolutely stunning. It's flawless. I am not much of a shawl knitter because, again, as much as I envisioned it being a shawl, I just feel like it's a big commitment to make a shawl, and so I never did. But I could easily see this being a hat accessory. I could easily see this being, ooh, amazing in color work. If you want a little pop of something something, I do feel like now with the sequin yarn being so popular, this would be an amazing way to bring a little bit of that like sparkly, jazzy touch into your knitting. Okay, that is finally it. I'm so thirsty and I haven't had dinner. And me not having dinner means I haven't eaten in like 7+ hours. So I am going to maybe go to Chipotle to get a burrito because I have been craving it for hours and hours now. I haven't been able to stop thinking about the Chipotle burrito. But that is what I am putting on sale. And what I'm putting on sale is pretty much everything in my stash because I need to move everything out of my closet. We have no space. So consider doing a kind deed and adopting one of these yarns because they are not going to be used in my stash anytime soon, unless I had a direct plan for them, in which case you're fighting me for the plan. But yeah, I figured I want to list these and open these up for adoption for a couple of reasons, including, you know, I just have like moving constraints, and I want to upgrade some stuff for the channel, and I also want to move to a model where I don't keep stash in my house. I just want to buy yarn for specific projects and stop coming at it from such a like hoarding mindset where like I buy stuff because I one day would turn it into something. Like, it's just like not something that I want to do. I'm not that down for that anymore. I've wizened. I'm a wiser woman now. So if any of these are perfect fits for you, I encourage you to contact me. I do want to say off the bat that, you know, this is going to be like technically me listing all these things for sale, but like don't feel like you should buy something to like support my channel. I know like I mentioned this is just for context. I'm just trying to recuperate a little bit of money. I'm not trying to like make money off of this because obviously I already spent the money on the yarn. I'm not trying to make a penny off of my subscribers. Like all of this is also going to go to like Facebook Marketplace and stuff. But I figured because you guys are my viewers and you guys are engaged with me as a community, I wanted to post it here first so that people here could get, you know, like first dibs. And then like the general public can, you know, figure it out on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. But you know, it just felt fair to open this up here. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Sorry, my cats are literally wrestling each other right now, so it's distracting. But I'm not going to be holding on to anything. So like I mentioned, if you like something and you are ready to like, you know, order it, definitely contact me. But if you are like on the fence or whatever, I won't be necessarily holding items unless, you know, like I don't get any biters. If like no one wants to buy anything, then like whatever. But yeah, I don't really want to get into like I don't want things to be like bidded back and forth. It's really just like a first come first serve. We're trying to move product more so than like get the very, very best deal out of anyone. So this is for all of you guys who are in the market for yarn and not anyone who's on a yarn ban. With that being said, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I am starving. I'm gonna go get some food. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!